Hi guys, and welcome to my review, my take on the QDC DMagic Solo. I've gone basically through the unboxing, but I just will go through it very quickly before I actually start the review. Packaging, I guess, is okay. I mean, nothing spectacular. What is spectacular is their modular cable. I mean, in terms of accessories, yes, they've done their work. So it brings the three different tips, 4.4, 2.5, and 3.5. Well, it's nice. It's just nice that it's a fact that it's a modular cable that they give us this at this price range. It's a decent enough cable, I guess. I mean, it's nothing spectacular. They could have actually done a little bit of an upgrade also on the cable. Let's be honest. Brings us plenty tips. I'm using the large size tips on my QDC. Brings a little cleaning brush as well. There you go, cleaning brush, tips, a bit of look, dual flange. Okay, cable. There we go. So in terms of the packaging and what they offer, it's acceptable. I mean, we're talking about $170, $180, give or take. The case is very nice. It's really a really nice case. I mean, all velvet inside and smooth, and it just screams luxury. It just screams something, that's premium. And I mean, honestly, I wasn't expecting anything else. I mean, QDC this is the first QDC earphone that I have, but QDC is a higher end brand. Let's put it that way. They've got earphones that cost some of them thousands of dollars. So, I think it would only make sense to trickle down some of that exclusiveness into a more budget product, which is the DMagic Solo. I'm using a graphene XI-NHS cable, 2.5mm with my DMagic. I tried two more other cables, I'll be honest, and I just liked the overall. I just liked the feel of this cable, and honestly, I didn't see any difference in sound. I'll be honest. I mean, this whole cable thing is so complicated. It's a topic that can generate so much controversy that I prefer not even to go into it. Now, what is beautiful, and when I say beautiful, and it's a pity that I really cannot show it to you properly, is let me see if I can zoom this in just slightly. Okay, what is beautiful is these earpieces. I mean, I've got some good looking earphones. I've got Blessing 2 Dusk, I've got EJ07, I've got some custom ones from GS Audio. So I've got some IEMs which are well put together, let's put it that way. This thing just takes the best. I mean, it's stunning. This resin shell, and it's really a pity that the video doesn't show it. This resin shell is like I was looking at a piece of crystal or a piece of glass. I mean, seriously, this is undeniably the most sexy looking earphone I own, for sure. Very, very nice. Fit is flawless. In my ears, at least, flawless. I mean, perfect. It's almost like it's custom made. Isolation, very good. Nozzle depth is perfect. Inside, there is a dynamic driver, which is going to be a little bit hard to actually show. If this thing would focus, it would be nice. Come on, let's see if I can focus this thing. No, you don't want to focus. You don't feel like it. Let me try and zoom it in a little bit more. No, it just doesn't want to. It doesn't want to focus. Seems to me like, okay, there. So we have this first. What looks like a driver is actually some sort of a resonant chamber, and the driver itself is over there in the front. So the driver is over there, and just underneath the actual nozzle. Okay. see if I can twist it like this. There you go. That's the driver. And then behind it, well, to this side, you can see some sort of a resonant chamber. It's got a vent on the top here. Let's see if you can see it. There you go. Blue, left side. Red, right side. There we go. Two holes on the actual, let me just take the tip out, it's better. So two holes on the actual tip. One will be for the resonant chamber, one will be for the driver itself. Okay. And that's basically it. I mean, excellent build quality. Excellent, 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 seriously. Fit, flawless, in my case at least. And isolation, perfect. I mean, really nothing to say. I guess that covers this first part. On to what we all want to know is, what does it sound like? Well, I did most of the listening with my TK2, which is now charging, and I just wanted to say that I absolutely, every day I'm starting to like it more and more and more and more. It's really a really impressive piece of kit. I mean, wow, and my congratulations to Try. I'll try and make a little review on it, and maybe compare it in a little bit more detail with the hi-fi hip deck, and maybe with my DX3 as well. Maybe give it a bit of an opportunity to position itself. But honestly, I've got absolutely nothing bad to say about the TK2, and like I said, the more I use it, the more I'm enjoying it. On to what matters, because I've been rambling here a lot. Comparison of the QDC with the Hana 2021 and with the Moondrop KATO. Why these two? Because these two are the ones that make the most sense in terms of price. If I had the BQ EYZ Autumn, I would have thrown it in here. It's on the way, unfortunately it hasn't arrived, but once it does, I will definitely also, when I review it, throw in the QDC for comparison. And I guess I could have also thrown in the KB Aurora, but I just feel it's not on the same league as the Hana and the Moondrop, which in my opinion are now, when I reviewed the KATO, the two go-to IMs below $200 in terms of single DD. I want to start talking about the sound of the QDC by showing you the graph of the QDC next to the Hana and the KATO. Anyway, here's the graph. Okay, let's see if this thing will do us the. There we go. Okay, so the green line is the Hana 2021. You can see it's got a little bit more sub-bass focus than the KATO. Otherwise, they basically follow each other around up to around 8K, and then it's past 8K that you then see. Well, if you look carefully, you will then see that the Hana has just got a little bit more energy than the Moondrop, and that's basically it. The QDC, well, the QDC, as you can straight away see from the curve, it is an absolute bass monster. I mean, this thing has got bass and more bass and more bass. It makes a VE Pro look or seem light. Let's put it that way. That's my perception. Then it's got this crazy 15 dB pinner gain, and you can see there by the graph on the scale, 80, 90, 100. So it's about a 15 dB pinner gain. Peaks at about 2.5. Then kind of, I mean, the peak there at 8, I'm going to consider that to be a resonant peak, and it kind of stays almost flattish, drops off, following more or less the KATO and the Hana, and then picks up again to about the same level as the Hana, and that's it. I don't know what to say about this graph, honestly. I don't understand this 800 to, hold on, sorry. I don't really understand this area here between the 801.5 kilohertz, almost this flatness, and then all of a sudden this abrupt rise in the I don't understand what was going on there. I don't know if it's something related to the actual resonant chamber. I don't know. I don't understand. What does this all translate to in very basic terms? From, let's say, that 1.5K up, it's okay. It sounds nice. It sounds good. The way that it graphs doesn't really it doesn't it doesn't shock me. It's fine. It's fine. Now it's the transition between the mid bass and that part. This area, 3, 4, 600, 800, 1K. It's this transition, yeah, coupled to the excessive amount of bass that you have, that just gives the QDC this overall very heavy character. Okay, and that's my starting point here for this wanting to position it in terms of its sound. Okay, what's wrong there? There we go. Okay, if you guys remember when I reviewed the KATO, and if you don't remember, I'll just give a quick overview. The KATO and the Hana, the Hana was a little bit more sub bass focused, which made then the mid bass to be a little bit slower. The KATO had a quicker mid bass, or better controlled mid bass, let's put it that way. So it was kind of a 1-1 for that area there. Then the vocals and mids were both excellent on both the sets. And then the highs, there was some extra energy on the Hana, which on certain songs and with certain volume levels, it could border the harshness. But I mean, this is really me being nitpicky and trying to fault them. Overall, I mean, as you guys know, the Hana is a fantastic IM. It's basically a baby Oxygen. It's the vocals are, like I said, amazing. The detail, the resolution. If I'm gonna fault it in technicalities, I would say it's the soundstage. It's not as wide as it could be. It's basically an average soundstage. While then it makes up for that with the imaging and the detail retrieval, which is amazing. It's a very safe, harmon tuned IM, and it's really nice. Its tonality, its timbre is really second to none. As for the KATO, much of what I just said also applies. It's really good in terms of its imaging. The soundstage, I guess, again, it's okay. When I reviewed it, I used the Aria and the Starfield as two IMs to kind of position the KATO in terms of those technicalities. And if you guys remember, the Aria is known for its soundstage, the KATO is known the Starfield is known for its imaging, the Aria for its soundstage, and the KATO falls somewhere in between. So it kind of I gave the kind of overall conclusion of the KATO being a grown-up Aria, and it is very much that. And compared to the Hana, it's really there's a reason why I consider both of them to be the go-to IMs at under $200 in terms of single DDs. They are both really very good, very good. I mean, the analogy I made at the time was that one was a Mercedes and one was a BMW. So you basically choose whichever one you just fancy the most. Okay. All of this talk for what? All of this talk to kind of position then the QDC. And the QDC, if I'm going to continue with this analogy of cars, the QDC is like an Italian car. Lots of show, and I mean, when I say this thing is beautiful, I really, I mean, look, I showed it to my wife, and even my wife, the first reaction was, wow, and you know how ladies can be. Ladies can be very demanding in that aspect. And for her to say, wow, it's because it's really good looking. So it's like an Italian car. Looks beautiful. The design is amazing. Everything is, it's spot on. But then, like the good old-fashioned Italian cars, not so much the modern day ones, but the ones from yesterday, from days gone by, they are plagued with electrical problems. And by that I mean what? Um, when it's working, and when you choose the right song, this thing is impressive. I have to say, it is impressive. I've been listening to it now for basically as much as I could possibly today, between breaks from work and so on and so forth, and I listened to it quite a bit as well last night till about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's exactly that. When you choose the right song, this thing rocks. It's really nice. When you don't have the right song, it's a disappointment. You kind of say to yourself, okay. And all of that disappointment just boils down to one simple fact: it's just got too much bass. They could have found a way to control that amount of bass somehow. I don't know. That resonant chamber, I'm sure, is doing magic there, but I don't know. There should be some way of being able to control it, being able to kind of bring it down. The same way as you got some IEMs that have those dip switches for you to control and adjust the sound slightly, and in some cases it actually does work quite nicely. I mean, one of the IEMs that I tried, which had those mentioned dip switches, is the XINHS 1+2 and 1+4, and you can definitely see big differences. On the Starsea, for example, I did not see so much of a difference between the different settings, and somehow I think, in the case of the KATO, they've got this adjustable nozzle, the silver and the brass one, which you could change, and it also changes slightly the characteristics of the sound. And I think that's the only real thing that QDC could have kind of thought about, which is find a way to tame down this bass. Because if this bass was tamed down, I am sure then that the marriage with the rest of the curve would be a much more favorable marriage. And you just, I don't know, it's just bring it down a notch. Don't have so much, because the difference is huge. We're talking 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6 dBs of gain over the Hana, and an 8 to 10 dB gain over the KATO. And you notice it because when you then listen to certain vocal songs, the males' voices will sound just way too thick, way too overbearing. There are some voices which are husky, and you want to make sure that your IEM can reproduce that huskiness. But this thing just, but this thing just does it way too much. It just exaggerates that. So obviously then the tonality and the timbre are off. And it's like I was saying, if you choose the right song where those aspects are not primordial, or not of the biggest importance, or not emphasized too much, then it's amazing. If you don't choose the right song, then it's going to sound like absolute nonsense, because it's just like you took your EQ and you just whacked all those frequencies up, you just bass boosted everything. It just sounds wrong. The rest, the female vocals, again, they are okay, but somehow they're not as affected by this excess bass. You just might find some voices just to be just a tad warm, and maybe just a little bit off tonally, but otherwise it's fine. Detailed retrieval, I found it to be as well lacking, because again of this excessive bass. If you all listen to the right song, yes, then it will pick up on details nicely, but it's never nothing more than just average, let's put it that way. I didn't find any real sibilance. I mean, it's not on the level of the Hana or the KATO. Those two are way cleaner, let's put it that way. And in terms again then of soundstage and imaging, it's again, I mean, imaging probably would be the better one. The soundstage, I didn't honestly find the soundstage to be anything to write home about. And I guess that again is down to that excessive bass hindering its detail retrieval capabilities, and by hindering that aspect, then obviously the imaging and the soundstage kind of are taken by default as things which are also affected. But overall, I mean, let's put it this way: if you tell me that you're going to listen to EDM mainly and that kind of that kind of more electronic music, then this is fine. It's good. It's a perfect choice. If you want something to be more tonally correct, more more neutral, because I mean these are harmonish kind of tunes, one more V-ish than the other, but basically harmon, and this is a V period, and it's a big ass V. It's so if you're looking for something that's going to be more audiophile capable, let's put it in those terms, those in that terminology, then this is not the ideal set. I mean, having said all of that, and I'm not bashing it in any way. I'm just saying that it's an IM for a particular specific crowd of people, and with a specific taste for music. But having said all of that, for example, there's a particular song which I'll then link on my playlist, so you guys can have a listen to it, because it's a song that I usually use as a reference to see how good the sub bass rumble is on the earphone that I'm listening to, which is Palansinun Hella Hermani. The basically the song, from from the beginning until the end, it has this really deep rumble, and if an IM that I'm listening to is able to reproduce it, then for me, then its sub bass capabilities, that box is ticked. This thing not only is able to reproduce that drum that's being played, but it emphasizes it even so. There's no lack of sub bass. There's no lack of that in that aspect. But it's actually cool to listen. It's emphasized, but it's actually cool to listen to it. And that's basically it. I mean, like I say, it's my first QDC earphone. I wanted to get it the moment I heard it. I heard about it. If things allow, I will try and get obviously other QDCs. I mean, I've heard so much of the Anoli and the VX, and who knows. And for something a little bit more on the budget, for them at least, because I mean it's $170. It's not exactly a budget IM. I would say that it's I mean it's a good try. It's a good try. Would I recommend it over the Hana or the KATO? No, I wouldn't. Unless you really are looking for a bass monster, you're a bass head, then yes, then definitely the QDC is the one to go for. But if you want something more correct, more capable of playing music, then Hana 2021, Moondrop, KATO are still the choices. This didn't in any way even hinder their positioning in that aspect. And that's basically it. So yeah, guys, beautiful IM. Seriously, I mean, I can't get enough of it. This thing is so sexy. It is so sexy. I mean, so sexy. Wow. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this little take of mine on the QDC, and be seeing you soon. Take care.